Welcome to this Neybor consulting presentation. You won your first government contract. Now what? This session is designed for small business owners, entrepreneurs, and new government contractors who have just landed their first federal award. Winning the contract is a tremendous achievement, but the real work and the real opportunity begins now. Over the next few slides, we'll walk through a practical 20-step playbook that covers everything from reading your award document to building a pipeline for your next contract. We'll pay particular attention to the finance function because that's where many first-time contractors stumble. By the end of this presentation, you'll have a clear roadmap for turning one government contract into a lasting platform for growth. Let's get started. Winning is only the beginning. Congratulations on winning your first government contract, but let me be direct with you. Winning is only half the battle. The federal government spends over $750 billion annually on contracts, and the contractors who capture the lion's share of that market are the ones who treat every award as a foundation, not a finish line. Here's the reality. Your first contract generates two things simultaneously: revenue today and credibility for tomorrow. The past performance record you build on this contract will influence every proposal you write for the next 3 to 5 years. Our research shows that 80% of first-time contractor failures are avoidable. They stem from process problems, not performance problems. Poor invoicing setup, weak documentation, scope creep, and cash flow surprises are the true killers. Today, we're going to make sure none of that happens to you. Your 20-step government contract playbook. We've organized the entire post-award journey into 4 distinct phases. Think of these as seasons of contract management, each building on the one before. Phase 1 is about orientation, reading every word of your award, understanding who has authority, and establishing the right relationship with your government customer from day 1. Phase 2 is where most first-time contractors underinvest. Setting up your internal systems, verifying your SAM registration, and most critically, configuring your payment and finance infrastructure before a single invoice is due. Phase 3 is execution. Delivering on your promise, controlling scope, documenting everything, and managing any subcontractors with the same rigor the government expects from you. Phase 4 is growth. Leveraging this contract to build past performance credentials, update your capability statement, and position your firm for the next award, while the first one is still running. One important warning: skipping or rushing Phase 2. The finance and systems setup creates cascading problems in every phase that follows. We'll spend significant time on that today. Phase 1, read, orient, and kickoff. The first 3 steps happen before you do any actual work, and they are arguably the most important steps of all. Step 1, read every word of the actual award document. Not the solicitation, not your proposal, the awarded contract. These are your binding terms. Build what we call an award summary sheet. A 1-page document capturing the contract number, agency, total value, funded value, start and end dates, deliverables, invoice cadence, and key government contacts. Step 2, know who has authority. Your contracting officer is the only person with legal authority to change anything in your contract. This is a mistake we see repeatedly. Why? Contractors take direction from a program manager or a core and start extra work, only to find out later that the CO never authorized it and they won't be paid. Protect yourself from day 1. Step 3, request a post-award kickoff meeting. FAR subpart 42.5 specifically provides for this. Use it to align on scope, deliverables, communications, and acceptance. Then send a written summary after the meeting. That written record is your first line of defense in any future dispute. Phase 2, internal contract administration. Step 4 is about building your internal infrastructure before you start performance. Think of your contract file as your legal and operational shield. Everything that protects you in a dispute, scope questions, payment delays, schedule disagreements, lives in this file. On the right, you can see the 10 items that every contract file must contain. Notice that the invoice tracker and deliverable tracker are both on this list. These aren't administrative nice-to-haves. They are mission-critical tools that connect your work directly to your cash flow. On the left is an example of what we call an award summary sheet. Every person on your team who touches this contract should be able to look at this one page and instantly understand what you promised, to whom, by when, and under what financial terms. If you build nothing else in the first 48 hours after award, build this document. Finance focus, getting paid right. This slide is one of the most important in today's presentation. Getting paid by the federal government is not automatic. It requires a specific chain of actions, all of which must be done correctly and in sequence. The payment flow you see at the top tells the story. Your SAM registration must be active and your banking information must be current before any payment can be processed. Then you submit a proper invoice through the correct portal. For DoD contracts, that's typically PERE and WAF. The contracting officer's representative reviews and accepts your work, and only after that acceptance is triggered does the payment clock start under the Prompt Payment Act. On the left is your SAM Gov checklist. Do not skip this step. A lapsed SAM registration can freeze your payments entirely, and we have seen first-time contractors wait 60 to 90 days to get paid simply because their SAM registration had expired. On the right is what you need to know about WAWF, the Wide Area Workflow System used across the Department of Defense. If your contract uses WAWF, you need to register and configure it on day one, not the day before your first invoice is due. The golden rule is simple. Never wait until the first invoice is due to figure out how you'll get paid. Finance focus, job cost tracking, and cash flow management. This is where many new government contractors discover that winning the work was the easy part. Managing the money is where discipline pays off. The 6 tracking items on the left are non-negotiable. You need to track job costs by contract line item, not just by project, so you can see exactly where money is going relative to what you're being paid. Labor hours by category matter, because on time and materials contracts, your billing depends on those hours being documented and approved. And subcontractor commitments must be tracked separately because those are obligations you've made that the government doesn't automatically know about. The bar chart on the right shows what the first 12 months of a typical fixed-price contract looks like from a cash flow perspective. Notice month 1. You've already incurred costs before you've received $1 of revenue. That's the cash flow gap that surprises new contractors. You need working capital to bridge that gap, and you need your invoice aging tracker, shown in the table below, to ensure invoices go out on time and payments are tracked every week. The question you must be able to answer at any moment is this: is this contract profitable? And will I have enough cash to fund next month's operations? If you don't know the answer, you don't have adequate financial controls. Finance by contract type. Not all government contracts work the same way financially, and managing them as if they do is one of the most common margin killers we see. Fixed-price contracts put the cost risk squarely on you. If it takes more labor than you estimated, you absorb the loss. Your key financial discipline here is tracking scope and labor efficiency weekly. Every uncompensated hour of extra work is a direct hit to your profit margin. Time and materials and labor hour contracts work differently. The government pays you a fixed hourly rate for each approved labor category. This means your risk isn't cost overrun. It's compliance. You must bill the right labor category for the right work. Maintain signed timesheets and keep the voucher support that FAR 52.232-7 requires. Non-compliant billing on a T&M contract can trigger a contract audit and repayment demands. Construction and cost reimbursable contracts introduce a third dynamic. Payment is tied to inspection and acceptance milestones. Progress payments depend on your work being formally inspected and accepted. Retainage, typically 10%, may be held until project completion. Budget for that gap. The golden rule: know your contract type and build your financial controls around it from day one. Phase 3. Build your delivery plan. Once you've read your contract and set up your systems, you need to convert the contract requirements into a working execution plan, not a general project plan, a plan built directly from the contract's deliverables, due dates, and performance requirements. The Gantt chart on the left illustrates what this looks like for a simple first month. Notice the gold bars. Those are your internal tasks and buffers. Notice that the quality review happens before the client submission, and the invoice goes out the same day as the submission. This is not an accident, it's a deliberate design. The 6 questions on the right are what you need to answer before anyone does any work. Who owns each task by name, not by role? What the internal deadlines are. And I want to emphasize the 3 to 7 day buffer rule. This buffer has saved dozens of our clients from late submissions, rejected invoices, and the reputational damage that comes with them. Build the plan before you start, then manage to the plan, not to the deadline. Scope control and quality. As soon as performance starts, you need to become a disciplined scope manager. The federal government works with many vendors, and it's natural for program office staff to make requests informally. Your job is to categorize those requests correctly and respond accordingly. The matrix on the left is a simple tool you can use for every request that comes in. Work that is in scope and documented. Perform it and bill it. Work that is out of scope but documented. Stop, submit a request for modification, wait for CO approval, and then perform. Work that is in scope but not yet documented, confirm it in writing and then proceed. And work that is out of scope and undocumented, that's the danger zone. Stop immediately and get written clarification from the CO before doing anything. The golden rule we teach all our clients is this: no extra work without written direction and a pricing and schedule impact review. Not a verbal okay from the program manager. Not an email from the COR that says, go ahead. A formal contract direction. On the right is a minimum quality control plan. Even if your contract doesn't require a formal QCP, implement one anyway. Your payment depends on accepted work. Quality and cash flow are directly connected. Document performance weekly and manage subcontractors. Here's something that surprises first-time contractors. Your weekly documentation is not just for internal use. It's building the evidence base for your CPARS evaluation, the Contractor Performance Assessment Reporting System that the federal government uses to rate your performance at contract end. That rating follows you for years. Future proposal evaluators will read it. The 8 items on the left are what you should be capturing every week, no exceptions. Customer feedback, issues resolved, deliverables accepted, these are your performance receipts. When CPARS evaluation time comes, you'll have the data to support every rating you request. If you have subcontractors, the right side of this slide applies to you. Your prime contract responsibilities don't stop at your office door. You are accountable for your subcontractors' performance, their compliance, and their billing. FAR 42.505 places the responsibility for post-award subcontractor orientation squarely on you as the prime. One final warning on set-aside contracts. If your award is a small business set-aside, the SBA's limitations on subcontracting rules apply. You must personally perform the minimum required percentage of the work. Pushing too much to a large business subcontractor doesn't just cost you the contract, it can result in fraud findings. Communication rhythm. Government customers respect contractors who are proactive, organized, and professional in their communications. Establishing a clear communication rhythm does 3 things. It keeps your customer informed, it prevents surprises from becoming crises, and it creates the paper trail you need to protect yourself. On a weekly basis, a brief operational touchpoint with your COR keeps small issues from becoming big ones. Always follow up with an email summary. Even if it's just 2 sentences saying, "We discussed X and agreed on Y." That email becomes part of your contract file. Monthly reviews give you the opportunity to present progress formally, submit invoices on schedule, and check in on budget and milestones. Milestone-based reviews are driven by your delivery schedule, but they're the moments where you confirm that work has been completed and accepted. The as-needed category is critical. When something goes wrong and at some point something will, your response must be in writing, prompt, and professional. An issue that gets flagged and resolved is a strength. An issue that gets hidden and discovered later is a contract termination risk. Remember, the government can't give you credit for what they don't know. Communicate proactively. Your 30-day post-award action plan. Let me give you the sprint plan. Everything we've discussed today fits into a clear 30-day timeline, and the earlier you act, the better positioned you'll be for the entire contract. In the first 48 hours, read the award, identify your government counterparts, confirm the key terms, and verify your SAM registration and banking information. Don't wait on this. A SAM issue on day 1 can cascade into a payment problem 6 weeks later. By day 7, you should have held your kickoff meeting, set up your contract file, built your trackers, and configured your payment system. This is also when you bring subcontractors into the fold with their own post-award orientation. By day 14, performance has begun, your communication rhythms are established, and you've run your first internal budget versus actual check. You should already know if your cost assumptions are holding. By day 30, you do a comprehensive review. Performance, invoices, profitability, compliance, and scope. You should also be starting your CPARS evidence file. not at the end of the contract. Now, while the work is fresh, day 1 discipline builds day 365 credibility. That's the principle that separates one-time awardees from repeat winners. The 8 most costly mistakes new contractors make. I want to spend a moment on each of these because they represent the most common and preventable failure patterns we've seen working with new government contractors. Mistake 1, not reading the award. The contract you receive is not always the contract you expected. Clauses get added, scopes get narrowed, invoicing rules get specified. Read it word for word. Mistake 2, taking direction from the wrong person. A core or program manager can tell you what the government wants, only the CO can legally obligate the government to pay for it. Mistake 3, waiting on invoicing setup. Every day of delay in configuring your payment system is a day added to your first payment cycle. Set it up on day 1. Mistake 4, poor delivery documentation. If you can't prove the government accepted your work, you may not get paid. Every accepted deliverable needs written confirmation. Mistake 5, unsupervised subcontractors. Your liability doesn't end at your office door. Subs who miss deliverables or submit non-compliant invoices are your problem. Mistake 6, scope drift. Every informal yes to an out-of-scope request is a gift you're giving the government for free. Mistake 7, SAM lapse. This one is pure administrative negligence, and it happens constantly. Set a calendar reminder today. Mistake 8, ignoring past performance until the end. By then, the evidence is gone, and the memories have faded. Start now. CPARs and past performance. Let me be direct about why CPARs matters so much. In competitive federal procurements, past performance is often worth 20 to 30% of your total evaluation score. A single rating difference, from satisfactory to very good, can literally determine whether you win or lose a follow-on contract. The CPARS scale on the left goes from exceptional at the top to unsatisfactory at the bottom. Your target is exceptional or very good. On every rating factor, quality, schedule, cost control, management, and small business compliance where applicable. But here's the key insight. You cannot build a strong CPARS rating in the last 30 days of a contract. You build it over the entire performance period with the documentation you've collected every week. On the right is your CPARS evidence file checklist. Start building this in month 1, capture your metrics, save every positive email from the COR or CO, document every issue and how you resolved it. Because showing that you identified and fixed problems proactively is actually a strength, not a weakness. When CPARS evaluation time comes, you should be handing the government contractor a pre-written factual summary, not scrambling to remember what happened 6 months ago. Your first contract is not just revenue. It is your reputation in the federal marketplace. Building your growth pipeline. The best time to chase your second contract is while the first one is going well. You have credibility, you have a government-customer relationship, and you have performance evidence. Use it. The funnel you see illustrates the natural growth path for a successful first-time contractor. It starts with excellent execution on your current award. From there, you look for options and task orders on the same contract. The government would rather exercise an option than go through a new competition. Then you position for the recompete, where incumbency is your greatest competitive advantage. Adjacent agency opportunities come next. Your first CPARS rating, combined with a strong capability statement updated with real performance language, opens doors at other agencies facing similar requirements. The checklist on the right is what you should be doing starting the moment performance is confirmed, and you're allowed to publicize the award. Update everything: your capability statement, your proposal boilerplate, your website, your BD pitch language. Every piece of language should shift from "we can do this" to "we have done this." That shift from capability claim to proven performance is the single most powerful change you can make to your proposal win rate. Key mindset shift. I want to close the substantive part of today's presentation with the most important idea of all, the mindset shift. Before this training, many new contractors think of their job as simply delivering the work they promised. That's a necessary condition for success, but it's not sufficient. The contractors who build lasting businesses in the federal market understand that every day of contract performance is simultaneously producing 2 outputs, the work itself and the evidence base for future awards. They track costs not just to know their margin, but to prove their cost discipline. They document communications not just for their records, but to protect their CPARS rating. They manage scope not just to avoid overruns, but to demonstrate the professional credibility that wins recompetes. That's the platform builder mindset. And it changes how you make decisions, how you staff, how you communicate, and how you measure success. The contractors who operate with this mindset don't just survive their first government contract. They build government contracting practices that compound one award into two, two into five, five into a portfolio. That's what we help our clients achieve at Neybor Consulting. Thank you for your time and attention today. The 20 steps, the 30-day sprint plan, the finance controls, the CPARS strategy, all of this is actionable starting today. But we know that for many small businesses, the path from first award to a thriving government contracting practice involves questions and challenges that are unique to your specific situation, your agency, your contract type, and your team. That's where Neybor Consulting comes in. We work with small businesses at exactly this inflection point, the moment after winning the first award, when the real work begins. Whether you need help configuring your invoicing systems, coaching on contract administration, building your CPARS strategy, or positioning for your next proposal, our team is ready to help. Visit Neybor.com to book a consultation. We would love to be part of your government contracting journey. Thank you.